proper story's supposed to start at the beginning. Ain't so simple with this one. Now here's a kid whose whole world got all twisted, leaving him stranded on a rock in the sky. He gets up, sets off for the Bastion, where everyone agreed to go in case of trouble. Ground forms up under his feet as it pointing the way. He don't stop to wonder why. Finds his lifelong friend just lying in the road. Well, it's a touching reunion. He sees what's left of the rippling walls, years of work undone in an instant, in the calamity. That a survivor? No, ma'am. It's a gas fella, forced out from underground. Kid pops him good. Fella got a piece of him, though. Kid just rages for a while. An old repeater falls out of the sky. Ain't a gift from the gods, but it'll have to do. Kid's worked up quite a thirst by now, so that fountain looks real inviting. Sometimes you just need a drink. A school of squirts tunnels up around them. Must have fled here from the mines. He sets foot inside one of Celandia's famous watering holes. Inside's old Rondi, the bartender. The calamity got him before his drinking did. Then Kid finds his trusty shield. The security takes him for a petty thief. Special delivery. Gas fellas. Windbags start turning up for last call. Squirts start coming out of the woodwork. A big old fella pops out in front of the kid. Sees the way to the Bastion out the window. It's a bit of a drop. Rondi always wanted his ashes scattered here. He gets a good look at things on his way down. He lands on top of a breaker's bow, and it ain't broke. Kid spies a good perch for some target practice. He knows he should draw the string all the way back. The kid pockets a memento from a breaker, once the fastest men in the land. Good news is the emergency defenses still work. Bad news is they're aiming for the kid. Picks up a few pointers from a dusty old tome. To his death. I'm just fooling. Right back at you. He finds the distillery right next to the arsenal. Tough part of town. The arsenal's where the kid can pick the best tools for the job. One sip of the spirits in that distillery, and the kid'll feel like a new man. Some of them squirts birthing like crazy in a couple of corn bins. He's a mighty fast learner. Ferry barge sends the kid on his way. The Bastion's real close now. Takes a chunk of alloy. The smell of barley and spoiled blueberries fills the air. Scumbags. Kid maybe shouldn't have done what he just did. Robs a scumbag of his last meal. Bad time to run out of black tonic. Kid puts him out of his misery. He finds the core to the wharf district. He steals the city's heart. Might as well. Kid has a feeling he better get a move on. The place is starting to fall. Kid just keeps running. Somersaulting like crazy. At last, the skyway's in sight. Whisks him where he needs to go. Now the kid sees something stranger still. His mind races. Did anybody else survive? Sure enough, he finds another. He finds me. We talk for a spell. There's a bit of the Bastion's power in that crest, enough to point the way to the cores. All I tell him is to set that core of his on the monument there, then watch. And just like that, the Bastion comes alive. Starts growing again, growing stronger. Kid's gotta put its power to good use. Now the Bastion can send him even farther into the wild unknown. Kid ponders what to build. The Bastion's a place of peace, but we can hold our own if we have to. Kid don't know what's out there waiting for him. The Skyway. Now the kid can ride the wind to distant lands. Now he lands at the intersection between bad and wrong. Ought to be a core down one of these twisted streets. But which one? He heads for the Squirt Steps. Won't be no field trip this time. They say even the most rambunctious squirts can be tamed. Squirts don't make the best of friends, but they can be useful in a pinch. No sign of the core here. At least the kid got something for his trouble. Scumbag can digest just about anything. Except for this. It's quick for slicing and light enough to throw. Them squirts just don't know when to quit. Some scumbag still feeding off the city's own trash. And there he is, the oldest scumbag of them all, Gershel. The calamity ain't done much for Gershel's sunny disposition. No surprise. Like the gas fellas are hiking from it. He heads for the east side, where windbags used to keep the local forge. Somehow that old forge is still standing. Inside the forge, Kid can fine-tune those instruments of his. Kid's lifelong friends looking fit to keep on fighting. A little Zolwood oil and that blade shines like a light. Core ain't here neither, so he's gotta guess again. Odd place to find the likes of Percy the Snitch. Never much cared for that big wide grin of his. Up north is where the gas fella foreman used to live, tending to his flock. Know why gas fellas all dress alike? Kids wondering the same thing. And there it is, but is locked down tight in an alloy cage. A blustery old foreman is keeping his fellas in check, almost like he's showboating for the crowd. Now there's a new marshal in town. He hears the whole place groan, but it's too tough to fall. The kid's ready to go, and his ticket out's right where he started. He comes back, just like I knew he would. The Corps hums in his pack. The monument's calling for it. The windbags used to be alright, then the calamity took the floor out from under him. Ain't always much to say. Kid does it again. Only fair he decides what we build next. Makes time to sample spirits from my personal supply. Cinder brick stout sure goes down smooth, then stays in your gut like a rock. A repeater goes with a hammer better than a box of nails. Picked up traces of other cores while the kid was out. Couples used to walk the sundown path. The kid ain't here for pleasure though. But then, somebody gets to the core before the kid. The floor starts giving way under the lightest step. A single panic squirt could bring the whole place down. Fragments of the old world rain from the sky. Stray valuables are lying everywhere. Kid thinks twice about risking his hide for it. Well, the path ain't exactly on the visitors no more. Security's all fired up. See, the path was intended for leisurely strolling and such. Sky bridges whip the path together. One of them bridges whips the kid along. Quick and careful is the only way to go. Finds a spyglass, like the ones they'd used to search the stars. Air travel always was an iffy proposition. The calamity changed everything, even when it blows. Well, if we mastered the winds in the old days, we can do it again. Who else could have taken the core? Well, ain't no survivor stole the thing. Scumbag ate it by mistake. Tough break. Unlike the kid, that core ain't coming back. No, they used to ship live munitions down the path. These wires to toss those things plenty far away. Gas fellas need some shut-eye from time to time. They get real cranky when you wake them up. keeps coming back to an overwhelming question. Who else could have survived the calamity? So we didn't find the core that time, but that ain't about to stop us. We could always see the stars, we just never could reach them, no matter how high we built. In better days, the melting pot was sealed tighter than the skin on a squirt. Of all the plans to survive the calamity, it had to be stab weeds. If there's a core, he figures it ought to be deeper down. He cuts down every stab weed like there's gonna be a prize for it. Core's stuck inside one of those fancy cages. Some of the stuff lying around is downright dangerous. He throws a switch. Now what could possibly go wrong? Quite a bit, as it turns out. The cage starts lifting from the core ever so slow. All Kid can do is wait. Shipments start falling in. Not every squire's born bad. Some spring to the kid's defense. Judging by the movement of the cage, it's gonna take a little while. Scumbags don't take kindly to interlopers. Even some gas fellas take his corner. Heard it pop that mean old foreman. At this rate, maybe 5 more minutes, maybe 30, hard to tell. Squirts get real territorial around the core. Then a shipment of free samples shows up. One thing's for sure, that cage is awful heavy. few seconds. Finally, the core's within reach. And done. He's got it. Just gotta get to the nearest barge. I still remember the look on his face after that one. Folks voyaged across the boundless sea to found Celandia. It was good living here for a while. The old world's finished, but the new world's just getting started. A lot of things need fixing up in this world, and we can start right here. Fetching fizz is like a mouthful of nails, but the benefits are worth it. The dead welcome him with open arms. The calamity took everybody after all. Kid sees it plain, frozen faces all around. You don't much care to see him, not like this. These folks never saw the calamity coming, but someone did. Someone close. Someone who ain't like Mr. Beckley and his kindly wife. It was someone like him. The kid sees him there agape, in the flesh. It's a snag or two trying to get to him. He ain't about to stop, no matter what. He's got so many questions after all. Just ain't got time for answers. The Thunder brothers didn't make it. They never saw what it was like beyond the walls. Nordy the bird boy didn't make it. The Jawsons, they didn't make it. Grady Sr., Grady Jr., they didn't make it. But him, he survived. Kid finds proof enough that man ain't from around here. Just think, without that man, we wouldn't be here right now, would we? The Corps survives as well. Kid does what he has to do. What do you say to a man who's seen too much? Kid hasn't a clue, but he says this. We have to go. Please. He's a proper gentleman, that man. His name is Zolf. No hiding he's an Ura. Folks like him ain't never been a common sight in Caelondia. He's relieved to see a living face or two. The kid and I introduce ourselves in kind. Both to him and to each other for the first time. We fought the Ura decades ago, but that was then. Things are different between us now. For Zolf, Caelondia was like a second home. He's real worried about his first home, too. Far to the east. Zolf offers to help me plot the skyways for the kid. At least the calamity hasn't touched the stars, he says. He was born in the Tazzle terminals. The Ura sent him on a mission of peace to our city, and he's lived here ever since. The cores, they remember. That's why this place is coming together. That's why things are gonna be all right. Well, look what we have here. Kid can pay respect to the old world and earn it in kind. The valediction. Just another one of my sketches. Nothing more. Words can't express what happened, but they're all I got. Good length of Miska, that bow's like new again. We tracked down a couple more cores near the edge of the city. There's only one way to Cinderbreak Fort. The hard way. Sure, the city marshals may be gone, but now the fort's crawling with windbags. Wham! Kid's ready for the windbags this time. The calamity was mercy, of course. The windbags ain't so lucky. They've been left to freeze or starve. Or face the kid. windbags young and old keep fighting for the fort. At least the marshals left the kid a parting gift. Something the windbags just can't handle. Something that'll punch clean through their greasy hides. Windbags ain't much different than normal folks. All they want's a warm place to stay and a decent meal. The calamity drove the windbags topside. A lot of them wound up here in this very fort. Business underground like in the old days. Windbags can't use martial supplies, but the kid sure can. As for the windbags, Cinder Brick gave them enough heat and metal to munch on for a while. Well, the fort ain't theirs by right. Can't blame them for wanting it, though. Kid's stash of grenades is there for him if things get even worse. Security is plain gone haywire. Windbags gummed up the works. They trapped the kid in the middle of the fort's parade grounds. Kid's blasting everything in sight with that newfangled musket. Then they bring out Glutus and Glandon and all their scumbag uncles. They got something to gain, and only their sorry hides to lose. Kid takes down Glutus, or maybe it was Glandon. The windbags finally get the message. Dream of getting a marshal's badge, but not like this. The Skyway's a welcome sight after all that. And now ain't nothing left for nobody down at Cinder Brick Fort. Kid shows up just as Zulf's telling me about his own journey to the city. Seems the only thing the Calamity saved for Zulf was a smoking pipe. The marshals seem like good men, he says. They treated him with dignity. Zulf brought his antique smoking pipe all the way from the terminals. Poor kid collapses after just one drag. The past. Only good thing ever come out of the past is history. Catches up with the kid. Hardly had a moment's rest since all this started. Fair to say he's led a hard life, supposing what he says in his sleep ain't no lie. He never knew his old man, but he had his mama to take care of. Frail thing with pure white hair like his. Having his mama's hair did the kid no favors while he was growing up, but he learned to hold his own out there. School ain't working out, so the kid signs up for a turn on the rippling walls. Make his mama some money. Thanks to folks like the kid, the walls kept Ceylondia safe from whatever's out there. The elements, the Ura, you name it. Once the kid done his time, he hurried on home. Turns out his mama's time was done too. The city had nothing for him. The money he'd been sending home was nowhere to be found either. what'll the kid do? Why, he went right on back to the walls for another 5 years. In the history of Caelandia, nobody's ever volunteered for a second shift on the walls. Out there, kid learned to fend for himself, learn to build, learn to break. In time, the kid earned good standing with the marshals. They trusted him to scout out farther than anybody. One night, on one of his expeditions, the ground beneath him shuddered, cracked, and split apart. He saw nothing where the world used to be. The calamity happened just like that. All the kid had to work with was his hammer and the clothes on his back. Through twisted streets, he ran with nothing but the city crest and an old stranger's voice to guide him. finally arrived at Zealandia's vaunted safe haven. He and no one else. But then, all he got was more thankless work from a man who ain't even asked his name. Sure, I may be the one who dreamt up the walls and the Bastion, but the kid made them real, not me. Don't matter for nothing now. Even since the Ura surrendered to us, the marshals kept a wary eye on him. Kid ain't finished here yet. Zolf's travels ain't much compared to what the kids had to go through for all this. The lost and found. Here, kid takes fragments of the old world and makes them whole again. All it takes is some fragments, and the Bastion makes it good as new.
If you're feeling low, count on the buttery flavor of our own Bastion bourbon. That ought to make those fangs sink in nice and deep. Ain't never letting go of his old friend with a sturdy grip like that.